You've been keeping a sacred fire alive for lifetimes, and Vesta is where you remember. If that flame goes out, well, everything falls. See, before there were churches, before there were kings, there were flames, sacred flames, tended not by priests or by soldiers, but by women, by priestesses, by Vestal virgins. In astrology, that eternal fire is called Vesta. Vesta isn't soft, she's not dramatic, she's not here for spectacle, she is devotion incarnate. In your birth chart, Vesta shows where your soul guards the flame, where your sacred focus can't be disrupted. But to understand her fully, we have to go back, way back in time. In the ancient world, Vesta was the Roman name for Hestia, the goddess of the hearth. She ruled over the flame that burned in the center of every temple, of every home, really of every sacred space. The Vestal priestesses were chosen in girlhood, and they were trained in silence and sworn to 30 years of celibacy. And this wasn't done as punishment, but as protection for their power. And their job? Well, their job was to tend to the fire, to keep it lit. Because if the flame of Vesta went out, the belief was that Rome itself would fall. And really, it's the perfect metaphor for your own life. When the fire of your devotion goes out, you also fall. Vesta, she doesn't shout, she doesn't demand attention. But understanding Vesta and understanding her archetype and understanding the influence in your life, it's very essential. Because she is the inner sanctuary, the sacred vow, the space within you that says, hey, this is holy. And also, Vesta is real, very real, and out there in space. She is an asteroid that was discovered in 1807 by the German astronomer Heinrich Olbers. Vesta orbits the sun between Mars and Jupiter alongside Pallas Athena, Juno, and Ceres in what we now call the asteroid belt. She's actually the second largest body in that belt after Ceres. Now, astrologically, symbolically, she burns with first light clarity. She's the cosmic hearth, the eternal flame within the soul. In astrology, Vesta reveals your soul's devotional path, where you've offered yourself fully. And often you've offered yourself fully across lifetimes. It's where you've protected sacred work at all cost, but also where you may have burned yourself out, or maybe where you've cut yourself off from others in order to stay pure. Because Vesta's shadow is isolation. It's the pain of being set apart, the exile of the devotee, the loneliness of living in service while the world forgets the flame that you've vowed to tend to. And this is how she can show up. It could be celibacy by choice or by wound. It could be a fierce need for solitude, or it could be a hypersensitivity to boundaries, to violations, especially when your sacred time or your sacred space is intruded on. Vesta is also where you remember that your presence is your offering, that your life is the altar, and that no one can touch what you hold sacred unless you allow it. So I'll give you some chart examples. Let's say you've got Vesta in the first house. Well, there, Vesta brings sacred intensity to identity. You walk as a temple. You may repel casual energy and protect your focus like your life depended on it. Vesta in the fourth house. Well, Vesta is pointing to the hearth as a karmic anchor. Family may have been a place of service, silence, or sacrifice, but also a source of deep spiritual commitment. Let's say you've got Vesta in the 10th. Your career is your temple. You're here to embody integrity in the public eye, even if it means walking alone. So ask yourself, where in my life do I keep a sacred flame alive? Where have I been devoted to something no one else sees? And also, where am I being called to reclaim my fire? Not for others, but for my soul. Drop that in the comments. I would love to know your Vesta placement. Tell me where it is in your chart by house and by sign. And what is she asking you to remember? Where does sacred service show up in your life? And if you want to go deeper, I do offer evolutionary astrology readings. I can look at Vesta, I can look at all the placements in your chart, and I can decode your mission. Together, we can explore the lifetimes that you've guarded the flame and how you're being called to burn brighter, bolder, and more free in this life. Satnam.